and welcome to Sip Sip Hooray, the podcast for wine lovers and the wine curious, where we share our favorite sips and tips from the world of wine. On the podcast today, the story of a father and son whose shared love of wine led them on a quest to find the best place to grow Rhone and Italian varietals. Their search sent them into the Sierra Foothills and El Dorado County, where warm days, cool nights, rocky soil, and 2,400 feet of elevation make for outstanding grape growing conditions and a down-to-earth vibe. We are delighted to have Rob Sinton join us on the podcast today. He is winemaker for his family's Starfield Vineyards and a big believer that the terroir of El Dorado County is a shining star, producing wines that are out of this world. We are the two Marys who like to eat, drink, and be merry. I'm Mary Babbitt.
I'm Mary Orlin. Sip Sip Hooray is here in California's El Dorado County, where the grapevines meet the sky, a reference to the high-altitude vineyards reaching upwards of 2,400 to 3,000 feet in elevation. At Starfield Vineyards, you gaze at the vineyard views, surrounded by evergreens in every direction. It's this mountain terroir that gives El Dorado wines their distinct herbal and spicy flavor, Sierra spice as it's called in these parts, and characteristic, and it makes them stand out among other California wines. We're so excited to be speaking with Rob Sinton at this gorgeous property, set with lakes and miles of walking trails where you can soak up the wine country experience and enjoy some darn good wines. Rob, welcome to Sip Sip Hooray.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are glad to have you show us around the place today. We just got finished with a little golf cart tour. Unbelievable, eye-poppingly pretty.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the vision for the whole property was largely my dad's influence. He's more of the gardener, I would say. So I've picked up all the names of all the plants, but he was definitely the one walking behind me and moving the tree stakes as we were deciding where everything would be placed. So,
well, you guys designed the property in such a way that visitors can walk around and enjoy the view. You have several ponds. It's really pretty. This is like you could do a little hike around here.
Yeah, we wanted to create a place that invited people out into where the grapes were being grown that they were tasting and sort of have a complete experience. And that's what we created here at Starfield Vineyards. And, you get that right as you look out from this office we're in, and you see the rose arbor full of white blooms, and driving around the lake and being able to smell the whole property as well is sort of an olfactory experience to go with the wine. So,
well, I certainly experienced that olfactory experience. Just driving around, I could smell the sun-warmed herbal notes, and just
this is one of the first day of spring, and it's like really, I cut that bag of kind of a Sierra spice thing for you guys, and I was smelling like the cinnamon, the vanilla from the Ponderosa pines. I had you guys crush some pink currant leaves in your fingers on the golf cart. And the whole property is just filled with smells that we do think make it into the wine ultimately up here and are part of our terroir. So,
well, tell us about that Sierra spice. You actually, for our listeners, Rob presented us with a large, like a gallon-sized baggie full of cuttings, little trimmings from different plants, and said, "Here, smell this." And it smells, it's unbelievable. Like, I want a candle that smells. I said, yes. I want a roll in it. It really smells delicious. It's like catnip for humans.
It would make a great perfume.
Yeah. It's really aromatic up here. I mean, people, I'm a lot of California has really great smells. I grew up in California, so I'm used to the eucalyptus smells of the bay. Mm-hmm. But El Dorado to me is very like cinnamony, very vanilla-y, and then has some sort of kind of herbal, greener notes to it. And that's all out from these trees, the bark, the needles, everything is sort of putting off these oils constantly. And I think one of the great things about wine is that you are kind of you're asking people to kind of slow down and just experience things and sort of have a conversation and just talk about what's going on in the glass. And we wanted to kind of bring that same experience out to the property here with mine and my dad's love of gardening, plants, and just the overall environment in El Dorado. So,
can you set the scene for our listeners? Many may not be familiar with El Dorado County, where it is in the state of California, and what makes this unique as a wine growing region.
Yeah, so I do think El Dorado is extremely unique in California. We are one of the highest, if not the highest, average AVA in California.
Do you mean in terms of elevation?
Yeah, elevation. Mm-hmm. So at 2,400 feet is where we're sitting at right here, right now. But the AVA has vineyards, I think, all the way up to 3,200 or 3,300 feet elevation. And yeah, it's so you get that kind of mountain influence that you wouldn't normally get every like 500 feet, you get like a 10% increase in like solar radiation. Someone's going to quote me on that, and that's going to be wrong, but I'm sure. But there is a formula for there. So you get more intense solar radiation, which thickens the skins. So you're going to actually change the composition of the grapes that are growing in the vineyard, which is going to influence the wine as well. And then, you get this. Really, it does get warm here, and you get these oils off of these trees, and we think that you are getting some of those absorbed onto the surface of the grape skins, and that those are ending up in the wine, and so we're about halfway between Sacramento and South Lake Tahoe. It's about a 45 minute drive from Sacramento, I think, on Highway 50, and Northern California.
Yeah. Gorgeous, gorgeous country. So I mentioned in my intro that you and your dad set out to find the perfect place to have a vineyard and grow the kind of wine you wanted to make, or grow the kind of grapes you wanted to turn into wine. And tell me about that. And I love that this is a father-son operation.
And what's your dad's name?
Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom Sinton. So we both have degrees from UC Davis. I grew up with him as the tech dad, of a CEO of a tech company in Pleasanton, and every day he'd come home and have a glass of wine and would tell me how he's going to have a vineyard one day he just said somewhere north of here, and very loosely, and I was like, this guy's a crazy person. And
yeah,
it didn't make any sense. The suit and tie guy, never wore jeans, which we just saw him in, wearing jeans, counting vines out there. And
right.
And so when we did finally, when he finally got out of that business, and then I got into UC Davis, and I was in molecular cell biology, I collaborated with him and just said, look, I don't know if this is the right direction for me. And he said, well, you're at Davis, you can just take the intro to viticulture class and viticulture enology class, which is like Ven 3, I think. And he was like, yeah, we'll just see if you like it, and then maybe we can try something in that field. And so I took that class, enrolled in that class. It's the quarter system, so it was really fast, and I immediately changed my major after taking that class, and I was just like, this is great. Went from like studying literally, I think, all hours of the day to studying 6 hours a day and also drinking wine. And
that doesn't hurt.
No, it was a big plus. And yeah, I had a great group of friends that I went to school with. And so at that point, we kind of got started very small at Crush Pad in Napa.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we know it, yeah.
And we were sourcing fruit, and we were working with a winemaker who had originally been the winemaker at Opus One, who's Keon Tavicoli. And he was sort of our first intro into the whole industry of making wine. And it was really good to have him to sort of bounce ideas off of and have his experience. But we really quickly realized that we needed a place that we could call our own and feel like we could, have an impact in that was different than sort of what we were getting with just the sort of basic Crush Pad experience. So we set off on like a pretty extensive journey, tasting through. we tasted through France, we tasted through Bordeaux and Burgundy. Part of Crush Pad's original business plan was contracting to make wine with Lynch Bages in France, and so we made the cuvée à droite and the cuvée à gauche, so the left and right bank of in Bordeaux. So it was a lot of fun. We learned a lot. We didn't make that wine for very long. It was difficult to feel like you had your hand in that without traveling there all the time. So that was a little bit prohibitive, but we traveled through the Rhone, and we really began to fall in love with a lot of the varieties in the Rhone. And we just wanted, again, something kind of different than what we had been drinking before. And the Rhone had all of that. They had Roussanne and Marsanne, and they had, people who were like, well, we don't top ever, and we top every month. And they had all these little tiny variations, and you felt like you could taste it in the wine. And so when we came back to California to look for a project, we started going up and down California to be like, where could we start a project where we could grow those varieties? And tasted through Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, and all the way down back to Paso, which is where my dad planted 100 acres of Petit Syrah and Chenin Blanc on the east side of Paso, the Shell Creek Vineyard. And we ultimately started up through Amador, and I started to really like, we do grow a lot of Rhone varieties in this area, and I started to really enjoy some of the whites, some of the reds, and we finally got into Apple Hill, and I just really started, I was liking like the whole portfolio of wineries here. Like I loved Lava Caps wines, loved Paul Bush's wines at Madronia. Boger's wines were great, and they were different, they were fresh, they felt exciting, and I just felt like it was this undiscovered region, and so we started looking for property here.
Is that what they call this, Apple Hill?
Yeah, we are in Apple Hill right now. So El Dorado encompasses a few different areas, but this is colloquially known as Apple Hill, and so that's where we chose to kind of settle down, and it's basically Placerville.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's sort of, it was a lot of that we tasted. We were sort of averaging, I think, 8 wineries a day, and
Wow.
it was we were
That's hardcore.
We were on a mission. It was pretty much wake up, sleep in hotels, and you're just. Hey, we're here for the whole flight. What's that cost? Great. Two whole flights of everything that you pour, and taste, spit, taste, spit, taste, spit. On to the next one, and it was a whirlwind. I don't know that I would, if someone told me that we should do that again. I don't think I would probably do that again. But it was really informative.
But it says something about that way you and your father get along, that you guys could endure that journey together, as a parent, right? So that you guys could do that and still come out speaking to each other, wanting to work together, and having a similar enough palate or taste preference that you could figure out how you wanted to approach your vineyard.
Yeah, and I do think my dad and I have a relatively similar palate, but I also think that, like I kind of said earlier, a lot of the fun of winemaking for me and tasting wine in general is the conversation. And so it's the slowing down, it's the collaboration that you have, just enjoying a glass of wine. And it's not oh, you're right, I'm wrong, or vice versa, or whatever it is. It's just, what do you enjoy about this? What's exciting to you is what do you think about, and when you get into the winemaking part of it, then you start talking more and more about, what do you think they did for this? Do you think they did that? Or what was this the right decision? They're just, so that's a lot of what my dad and my conversations end up like when we drink wine together, which is pretty much every night. So
Speaking of conversations over wine, we asked you to pick out a few wines that help tell your story. Let's get started.
Yeah, so I have got the Starfield 2022 Sparkling Brut Rosé of Grenache, and I'm so
That was
sorry.
the perfect opening. We wanted a bigger pop, but you had passed. You had passed the quartermaster exam.
It's hard to train me to not open that, differently. So
Right. Well, better than no one lost an eye. So there you go.
Yeah, I had in my head that I was going to do it the loud way, and I just
that's all right.
You couldn't.
That's the way a true wine professional opens the bottle.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful color. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us. So I understand the journey with the Rhone wines. Where does the sparkling come in?
Yeah. So I asked my dad this recently because it was sort of out of the blue that we started making this wine, and I said, "So what was the inspiration?" And he said, there's not a direct explanation, although he did spend some time when he was 16 years old in Champagne, the Champagne region of France. So he did get used to it there, and he thinks that may have been sort of the inception point for the wine. But basically, we had demand. We heard people wanting sparkling, and so we just thought, why don't we try to give it a go and see what it's like. And so it's been a really great experience here in the El Dorado area. And basically, I think what ends up coming through in the sparkling wines a lot is basically this really intense aromatic character that you get from these volcanic acidic soils here, and kind of these silica-rich soils. You saw, I think one of you picked up a rock of quartz.
I did. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's
so we have
quartz.
we have a lot of silica in our soils,
quartz,
and which is kind of a volcanic aspect of the soil, and they're all volcanically derived and acidic, and that kind of really accentuates a lot of the aromatic character and varietal character in the wines, and those end up coming out in the sparkling, which the sparkling itself kind of accentuates really delicate, fun varieties.
Well, this is so fun to have a sparkling Grenache.
Yeah, very, very unusual. I mean,
yeah.
I think Grenache, Cinsault, and Cunoise are really varieties that are up here very similar to Pinot Noir, which is what you would normally expect in a sparkling Brut Rosé. The Grenache up here really gives you a kind of strawberry note, a luscious, bright strawberry fresh note, maybe a little bit of watermelon, I've heard people say.
Oh, but it's so nice, and in such a delicate way. It's not like Boone's Farm strawberry, right?
No,
you know what I mean?
It's not. It's a delicate. It's still delicate and refined, and we pick it at about 19 bricks, and it's just a really, my dad and I are both big believers. I mean, we're both pretty academically similar, and that I don't know that we believe we know all the right answers off the bat. We are both very much like lifelong learners. And so I would say this is by far our best rosé that we've ever produced yet.
Gorgeous.
It's fantastic.
And each year we get a little bit closer. So I think the previous vintage was 18 months and in the bottle on the lees, Method Champenoise. This was 25 months in the bottle on the lees. I don't know if that's what gave you that strawberry character. I don't know if it was just something that happened in the wine, but it's really, really a fun grape. So
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned Cinsault.
yeah.
And one thing I know that you're into are forgotten grapes, and there's this whole Forgotten Grapes Society. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So we attended for the first time this year. It's the second annual Forgotten Grapes Festival in LA, and we missed the first one. Just hadn't heard about it. I think only 30 some odd wineries attended last year. This year it was 60 or 70, I want to say. And it was a fabulous festival put on by a woman named Allison Levine.
Oh, I know Allison.
Yeah, just really a really fabulous event. And
Tell me the genesis behind it. Like, what's the idea? There's great grapes out there that people aren't appreciating enough, or what?
I think that's exactly it. Yeah, that basically people it's easy to go to the supermarket and find Cab, Merlot, Chardonnay,
like they've got
Pinot Noir,
the thingy on the aisle.
Yeah, right. You have a whole section
whites,
of
other reds.
exactly, and those are great wines, but people, they just, I don't know if it's a generational thing or like people, every generation kind of wants to put their own stamp on or not do what their parents did or something like that. You know, it's like the people want to be on the cutting edge of the next new thing. And so even though these are all 2,000-year-old, some, you know, in most cases grapes that are just sort of forgotten, that they feel new because so few people grow them.
That's really fun. And that's what's interesting about it is it's kind of maybe your grandfather's or great grandfather's wine, but it's for a new generation.
Exactly.
And young winemakers like yourself are saying, hey, if I'm understanding you correctly, the Chardonnays and Cabernets, they've had their moment in the sun. And while there's still value in all of that, what about some of this other stuff? And let's bring a new audience to it.
Yeah. And I mean, I can personally, you know, coming up with tastes in your head is sometimes challenging, but I can personally think about the entire spectrum of Chardonnay that I've tasted. And we make Chardonnay. I love Chardonnay, but I know exactly kind of what a stainless steel tank fermented Chardonnay is going to taste like. And I know exactly what an oaky, buttery Chardonnay is going to taste like, but I don't know what that's going to be in a Viognier per se, or, you know, Alianico or something like that. So you're bringing newer techniques to older varieties and getting a new spin on things, I think is really fun. I know one of the difficult things when we were planting the vineyard here was finding meaningful representations of varieties that were sort of without influence of wineries or winemakers, right? So we were trying to, you know, think about what does an Alianico taste like? And when most of them are coming from Italy, those are steeped in like 500 to 1,000 years worth of winemaking and ancestral tradition. And so are you tasting the grape, or are you tasting what that family likes to drink on a Saturday night? You know, they're both extremely valuable things, but I needed to, as someone who didn't have that history, I needed to know what the Alianico tasted like. And so it's, you know, we grow Alianico here, and that's been a grape that I've now learned my own interpretation of what that tastes like up in the foothills here.
Well, I think one of the things that draws people to the same olds is that it's the devil, you know, and these are good devils.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, Chardonnay's great, and Cabernet Sauvignon is great, but there's so much about wine that makes us all feel intimidated, so that you think, well, gosh, I know sort of what I'm going to get with a Chard, and I kind of, you know the ballpark that I'm playing in with a Cabernet. And I think the challenge is getting people to say, I'm willing to try something different.
Like the second wine you chose. Tell us about this. It's a white.
Yeah, so I chose the Viognier. So it's the only wine of the flight that I know that you both have tasted already. So I remembered what I sent you.
Yes, you were so nice to send us a preview of the wine.
Thank you. And I hope you already know we loved it.
Oh yeah, well that's amazing. I thought should I just pour them all of the stuff that they like? But no, I know that I make a lot of really fabulous wines, and it's always a little bit excruciating to try to.
Did you know Viognier is one of my absolute?
I did not. I did not know that, but we can just say that I did. We can just cut that part out. But yeah, so in this case, this is a barrel fermented malolactic fermentation, not buttery, but kind of a little bit more oxidative Viognier style.
Northern Rhone style.
Yes, and they have granitic soils in the Rhone, which are similar to soils. Some of the properties around here have more granitic soils. Ours are a little bit more on the shale side of the volcanic soils, but so we thought the soils were similar, and we have producers that we just absolutely love that grow grapes in Condrieu. One of the highlights, one of the highlights of being invited to the Hospice du Rhone for the first time with Lava Cap for the region was I got a selfie with Francois Villard tasting my Viognier and my Marsanne, and I was like, well, I can.
Nice.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting.
I was at Villard.
Yeah, he's great. He makes great Viognier, and I aspire to make Viognier. Pardon me. That is as good as his one day.
Fantastic.
So
yeah.
I was really tickled that he came over and decided he wanted to taste some wine. I unfortunately didn't speak quite enough French to have a good conversation with him. But
I thought it was hospice around, so there you go. As in the elder care, end of life. Have a glass of wine and go out with a smile.
Yeah.
Is that not where that's from? I think that actually is how. I think that is actually how it originated.
No, it totally is.
Yeah, it was
a fundraiser
originally
for the hospital.
Exactly right. Yeah,
And,
so it is.
Good. On my bucket list is going to the one in the Rhone. I've been to the one in Paso Robles.
Yeah,
but I haven't been to the French edition.
Yeah, I just pronounced it the French way, I guess.
I liked it. It sounded fancy.
It sounded fancy.
But this is beautiful. It's got that minerality that I love in Viognier, and you don't often get in a California Viognier.
Yeah,
so.
it is a very challenging variety. I would say I don't think it's our most challenging variety to make up here, but it is. It's you want to accentuate the good parts of the floral. Kind of bouquet, but also you're kind of wrestling with it because it can get out of control.
Viognier can be a very exuberant floral wine.
Yeah, I learned a word this most recent vintage that stirring people in Condrieu thought stirring Viognier in barrels might cause you to get a blousy wine, which is like sort of overly aromatic, apparently.
I like that blousy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me some of the growing conditions, like hot summers? What is your growing season like here? What are the things that you're working with and ways in which Mother Nature is helping you and presenting challenges as well? Yeah. So I would say this is one of the warmer growing climates in California. We can get into kind of a cooler growing time if you are able to push back some of the bud break and bud push, which is kind of what we saw when we were with our late pruning. We were pruning later and later. Tell us about that. That was kind of cool. So you actually left some canes on. Yep. Tell me that. Yeah. So we prune late here to avoid frost and basically try to kind of push our growing season out as far as possible to sort of get our grapes ripe in the cooler summer months. So later into September, October. I haven't experienced one in November yet, but I've heard that it's happened a couple times, depending on different grapes and what kind of wine you're making. But it also is a factor in disease pressure. So when you prune after all of the rain is stopped, you get less trunk disease. So, well, being this close to Lake Tahoe, a late harvest, do you run the risk of it getting too cold here? You do. We have risk factors on both sides of the spectrum. So it's definitely a riskier growing environment than I would say a lot of California is. Although the recent frost that we had in 2022, I want to say, was it affected Lodi as well, and I think it maybe even affected Paso. So it's not entirely unique to us, but farming is generally a risky endeavor no matter what. You're at the whims of Mother Nature. You are, and you that's what you've kind of signed up for as a farmer. Sure, and sure. we are definitely farmers out here, and you do have to kind of roll with the punches. Well, talk to us about the farming techniques you employ here. I know sustainability is a big thing for you. Yeah, so one of our biggest things is that we have a permanent year-round cover crop. We just mow. A lot of vineyards will till the in between rows, and we just leave the cover crop and mow it occasionally. And we're mowing right now just because we chip all of the canes that get pruned to sort of incorporate that back into the vineyard. But another big part of sustainability for us was leaving green space.
So basically the gardens and all of the planted wildlife areas that you see around the property were spaces that we could have ripped up and planted vineyard. And we just wanted to keep habitat for native wildlife. And we accentuated that by planting bird boxes. We have
I saw a lot.
Yeah,
of them.
we have a lot. Probably one of the largest amount of bird boxes locally, I think. We tried owl boxes, but we didn't get any owls. And I've got some bat boxes I'm supposed to put up, and a few more bird boxes that we're replacing and putting a few more up. So we're big on wildlife.
What's the kind of the wildest wildlife you've
Oh,
ever seen?
everyone up here anyway has had an experience with a bear, bear and mountain lions. So what we drove by the turtle pond and there's
which is a pond on the property that's actually a turtle pond.
Yeah,
full of
actually
turtles.
has real turtles. Actually, still has native California pond turtles as opposed to the sort of invasive sliders that were
Petco.
Yes, from Petco and whoever else had turtles as pets. But that island that the turtle jumped off of on our drive, it was sort of not floating in the middle of the pond where it's normally supposed to be. A bear decided it was going to climb up onto that and flip it over and just sort of knocked the hook off of it, and now it's free floating. And so it's you asked if we get into the ponds, and my dad or I, probably me, has to get into the pond and re-anchor the island. So yeah, it's the things you never knew you needed to do to maintain a nice property. Right. So
well, it's a gorgeous property. So talk about when visitors come, what they're going to experience, because you've got the ponds, the lake, and you've got all these miles of trails. Yeah.
So again, we wanted to invite people out. But the first thing most people are going to experience is we have a hosted tasting area, guided tasting area, and to do flights. And then we also have a self-guided tasting area where you can get a pre-done flight and just go with your friends and sit out on the grass under our deodar cedar trees and just enjoy sort of however you want to enjoy the wine. It's there for you to experience. And then if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you can head off on the trail, which starts right at the grass patio area here. And my personal favorite thing to do is just usually grab a bottle of sparkling from the tasting room and head out and walk through the rose arbor and go have a picnic in the amphitheater. That's pretty much my ideal day, my personal ideal day. I know a lot of people do like to hang out at the Lake Pavilion, which is a perk for our club members, and get a more guided experience there on the water. But I think it's perfectly fun to just grab a bottle and go sit in the amphitheater and drink some sparkling. So.
Well, not many places have an amphitheater, have the tunnel of, what did you call it?
It's a rose arbor.
Rose arbor.
Yeah,
like you
rose tunnel.
Like walk through a tunnel of climbing roses. So cool. All of these ponds. It's really spectacular. And such a tribute to your family and your desire to make this an inviting place.
Yeah, my dad and I always wanted to. We're both, I would say, kind of builders. We want to build infrastructure. We want to create places, experiences that people value, that bring people in and bring people together. And I think that's sort of how we've lived our lives and how we want to share, our lives with everyone else in the area and in the community. So
what do you wish the folks who are heading, planning yet another trek to Napa because they think that's the place to go, what do you wish they knew about this area, about Placerville, Apple Hill?
The wines are amazing, world-class wines, and it's accessible. It's cheaper than Napa.
Oh my goodness, price points.
It's a great value, not just for the visitors. The tasting room fees are dramatically lower.
And
Yes.
the quality is so good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the quality, the freshness. One of the things, one of the quotes I remember Robert Parker being attributed to Robert Parker later in his life was that he said he found himself drinking more and more Grenache.
Really?
As the years went on, and so Grenache is one of our favorite grapes here. I debated whether or not to pour you the still red Grenache because this is you have our sparkling Grenache here, but I chose a different wine for the final flight. But I just think the wines are really fresh. They're very fruit forward. They're daily drinking wines that are accessible, and you just get a really great sense of terroir from the mountains here and the trees. I think it comes out in the, you'll have to be the judge of that with the last wine. I picked a wine that I thought was kind of a...
Tell us about this wine.
Yeah. So the last wine I chose for you is the 22 Miner's Inch. So it's a Mediterranean blend, and it's got pretty much... I would say it's spiritually in line with GSM Rhone red blends, but breaking all of the blending rules. So
good.
Thank you. It's got it's generally, I think, I don't have the bottle here next to me, but
Your specs on
no,
it,
don't
yeah.
worry about it. And
But I totally get this Sierra spice note in this.
yeah, so we do really believe that it's in the on the grape skins. And basically it's coming out in the wines, and I think it's, even if you're not necessarily detecting it directly, I think it enhances the aromatics at a sub-threshold level. So I think that it's popping some of the aromatics, and I just think the Miner's Inch is one of the best sort of examples of that for Starfield.
And why do you call it Miner's Inch? I know must be a story there.
There is a story, yeah. So originally we have sort of one of the sort of most technologically kind of advanced water systems here with the EID water system, and way they've kind of connected all of the bodies of water in the mountains here. And that's where we get some of our water for the tasting room here. And basically they used to measure that by a 1-inch hole in a board and a ditch. So they'd literally dig a ditch, pipe some water into it, put a board with a 1-inch hole, and however much water flows through that board in 24 hours is a Miner's Inch.
That's wild.
Yeah, and allegedly Placer County and Nevada County still measure their water like that. So
No way.
yeah, allegedly. I don't
Allegedly,
know.
okay.
Yeah, I don't quote me on any of this stuff, but apparently some of my staff have had people come in and educate them a little bit more about the Miner's Inch because they're water experts and they still sort of work with these measurements.
Well, that harkens back to this area's gold country roots. Yes.
Yeah. This is definitely gold country, and one of our other white blends was the Hope. It was named after the Rising Hope gold mine, and they didn't find a lot of gold there, or any, I'm not sure, but we wanted to sort of pay homage to that. A lot of the people came for gold and brought grapes with them and decided to stay and grow grapes and make wine. So the history does have quite an old heritage of grape growing and winemaking. And we wanted, my dad is a history buff, so he wanted to sort of pay homage to all the people that had come before us. And basically, been sort of shouting from the mountaintops, so to speak, about how great this region is.
It's so cool. Now, we have to ask you about the labels. You were
Yes.
showing us this technique I've never seen, and it's out in the wild. So tell us what it is and how you came up with it and what it does.
This is a new label for you guys, and you've done some sort of like old school high tech combo to create something really special.
Yeah. And well, actually, you can actually see how much they're still reacting. So this is actually just from just having these on top of that just to now. This was a white piece of paper earlier today.
So he's showing.
Sorry. So
it's an it's an audio medium. So.
Yes. I'm remembering that now. It's so basically I created new labels. We are changing our labels with Starfield to sort of freshen them up, give them more of a sense of place with the property. We have the tree line on them. But the main aspect are these things called solargraphs, which are a low-tech camera, basically. So what they are is that you can take sort of any container you want, but most commonly you take a can and then you put just a regular piece of black and white photo paper that's like, 75 cents a piece, and you put that into the can and you make a tiny, like 0.2 millimeter hole. You're basically creating a pinhole camera, and you let that sit for multiple days. In the case of all of the labels that you're looking at here, it's been about 5 days for those labels. So if you counted those arcs of the sun, there'd be about 5 arcs. And
so it's an image of pine trees with an arc over them, and this is the sun that was captured in this can.
Yes, yeah, exactly. In the can. And you can see, like, I have a really long one there that's not on the labels. This is
so
what
it's like a dome. Almost.
Yeah, the sun creates an arc. So if you're being really scientific about it, you can put a can out at the winter solstice, which is the point that the sun is the lowest in the sky, and you can put one out at the summer solstice, which is the highest point in the sky, and you'll get sort of the range of width of the sun. So that's what you're seeing is basically the small movements of the sun in the sky.
Interesting. Wow.
The effect on the label is kind of like the Aurora Borealis. It's lovely.
Yeah. So,
yes.
and on our Instagram, my dad managed to capture the more recent auroras here at the property that are pretty spectacular. I thought he was photoshopping them and lying to me. So,
but I just think that your quest to do this and your excitement about it says everything you need to know about your creativity, the way you find inspiration in old stuff, and yet a desire to do something new with it. I love it.
Yeah. So again, I very much am about collaboration, and I don't think these labels would have come about in a vacuum. They were very much working with another designer that we'd worked with and sort of bouncing ideas off of her. And one of her iterations of this sort of watercolor wash that was sort of reminiscent again of sort of the Aurora reminded me of my dad's pictures that he had taken, and reminded me of these bizarre photo ideas that I sort of scour for online. I had seen these before, and I thought those kind of look a little bit like that. And, solar graphs, Starfield, it's the sun. So it's sort of, and if we put the tree line in it, then it's what the sun is doing. They're growing the grapes here. They're making the wine. Everything is translated from the sun to the wine. So
it's the image of your vineyard and your property here. In fact, when we were driving around, you showed us one of your little cans.
Yeah, I still have one can out there. I probably have a couple more somewhere. I've forgotten where they all are.
Well, I have to ask you about 2 other projects.
Okay.
Your vermouths. You have a white and red.
Yep.
And you're also doing a low alcohol wine.
Yeah. So the vermouths, those were, we had some wine left over that we didn't need to bottle, and we were sort of wondering what to do with it. And this was back before I, became sort of the label designer and like a bunch of other things that I now do at Starfield. But so I thought I had a lot more time back then, and I was like, we're not gonna make vermouth again. This will be a one-off. It was a really challenging project to basically. I think I steeped upwards of like 60 different fresh herbs, spices, like different kinds of we tried Blessed Thistle. We tried all kinds of interesting things that you can steep in high proof alcohol, and then basically taking those to into the wine to get it up to about 17.5, I think is what the percentage is on the vermouth, and getting the formula into that, and then recreating all of those to put it into the actual wine, but at the right volumes. That was, so I thought I was not going to have to do that again, but now I apparently am going to do that forever into the future. So because it's been so well received.
That's great. A blessing and a curse.
Exactly. So yeah, it is a very fun project. I don't think there's, I love making wine, but I also don't think there's any other project that I'm doing that you really get the same kind of influence of my palate on the because with wine you're a lot of it is letting the grapes speak for themselves, and a lot of your job as a winemaker is to sort of, I think, not ruin the potential of the grapes. So which I think we've done quite well at Starfield, but the vermouth is really, you can go in any direction. There's so many directions you can go in that it really shows you kind of the personality, I think, of the winemaker and a product that they were trying to create and share with people. So yeah, it's been fun, and I think it's also a kind of a fun way, thinking about it going forward, thinking about it sort of the Sierra in relation to the Sierra Spice. It's a way that you can kind of imbue, I think, a wine with an even heavier character of what I think the terroir and really also just the feeling of the area is with. So if you taste the red vermouth, it's a really strong eucalyptus component, and sort of what I was thinking of when I was drinking it or making it was like, oh, I really love those like Berkeley Hills, like eucalyptus, kind of like on a day like today, like kind of right after the rain and like everything's kind of volatile, and you get those, those eucalyptus peppercorn things, seed pods that they have, and it all kind of has that really, just a really nostalgic smell for me personally. But
great. And low alcohol wines, what inspired you to start going in that direction?
A lot of Wine Business Monthly articles about drinkers.
It's a fact.
We've read them all.
Yeah, right. So you get them across your email, and they're hard to ignore after you've read them. That they come in about once every other month, and
more frequently now.
More frequently, yeah. And so it was something that we wanted to tackle and begin exploring. I think we have a lot to learn. I think that the technology is not, it's not quite as fleshed out, I think, as like, non-alcoholic beer, for instance. Like, I think,
I agree with you.
Yeah. Being lower alcohol in general is a huge advantage. Having ingredients like hops is a huge advantage. Like carbonated hop water is really tasty. It's so that product, the idea that wine is going to get there, it's going to take a lot more to get a product that I think we're going to really kind of hang our hat on here at Starfield Vineyards. And the goal is really, so we went low alcohol because we liked the alcohol, and you need alcohol to carry those delicate aromas.
So true.
And so you're sort of, when you go all the way to zero, it really is tough on the product. The product you're left with is very stripped, and so we're exploring ways that we can move into that category, move all the way. Our goal is to move all the way to zero alcohol. Whether or not we get there through dealcoholization, I'm not sure if that's in the cards for us, but we are constantly exploring. The low alcohol was our first foray into a commercial product that we thought we could sell. So
I think it's cool that you're willing to give it a go, or that you remain open to new ideas and experimentation, because I think that's how you continue to not only serve your customers, but stay fresh. So something else I have to ask you about is we're sitting here, we're looking out over the vineyards and we see pine trees in the distance. And then on the wall, I see something that says Rad Dad. And is that you?
No,
Are you
that's
the
not
Rad
me.
Dad?
No, that's Austin, I think. Probably Austin. Yeah, he's got 2 kids. So this is his office. My office is
Who is Austin?
Austin's our tasting room manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was setting up for us, and
But you're also a father.
I'm also a father. Yeah, 9.5 months old. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I don't know.
And you named him after your dad.
I did name him, completely after my dad. Yeah, the story that's funny is that the Social Security card came and my dad thought everyone was, or that someone was scamming him, and they sent him a new Social Security card, and he opened it, and I was like, no, that's my son. He's like, oh, okay, so
It's your grandson.
But yeah, and and we all live together. My wife, 2 dogs, my son, and my dad all live in the same house on the property, which is just, we actually drove by it. I didn't point it out. It was down just past the turtle pond there, and it's been both my wife and I spent time in Latin America and saw multi-generational households, and we really felt both strongly that like we wanted family nearby, and so it's been really fun to see my dad with my son, and
It's so
see them
beautiful.
interacting every
Good
night,
for
and,
you.
yeah.
It's a gift for your son, and it's a gift for your father and for you as well.
That's how we both that's how both my wife and I feel about it. So
Wow, so cool.
Well, Rob, thank you for sharing your story, the story of Starfield, your lovely wines, and this property. I mean, for our listeners, if you can find a way to get to El Dorado County, you have to come to Starfield. What an incredible experience.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as we said, it's between Sacramento and Tahoe, so
Yep.
chances are if you're a Californian, you've driven this way, so it's certainly worth turning off in Placerville and getting out here.
Yeah. Come out and visit us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you again. The wines are delicious, and we certainly enjoyed chatting with you. Yes. Sip, sip, hooray, Rob.
Yes, cheers.
Sip, sip, hooray. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well, Mary B., Rob was so much fun and interesting. And, I will never forget now what Sierra Spice is. And, I took a picture of it. I'll post it on our web show notes. But, his little baggie with all the different things of the Sierra Spice with the conifers and everything, that was like, wow, that made it so easy. And you can taste the Sierra Spice in the Starfield Vineyard wines.
It's wonderful, and the aromatics of that Sierra Spice, that I just over the moon delicious. I couldn't get over it. It was so great. And you're right, you can taste it in the wine. And you know what else I loved? Talking with Rob, you can tell he is the future of Sierra Foothills winemaking, and he represents the next generation, and he's bringing a fresh, youthful vibe to the area. And I think that's going to be really helpful to attract more customers their direction.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a visit. So if you're in the region, or if you're not, you should make a special trip to the Sierra Foothills, to El Dorado County. Check out these amazing winemakers and the wines they're making, the mountain wines. They are very special.
And that Starfield property is just phenomenal to spend
yeah.
cruising around, just beautiful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So if you enjoyed this podcast, and we hope you did, we hope you'll share it with your friends. You'll like us, rate us, leave us a comment, and follow us and support what we're doing on Sip Sip Hooray.
That's right. You can find information about our episode today on our website at sipsiphooraypodcast.com. Also on our Substack, where you can subscribe for free and get notifications of our shows as soon as they drop. And then please follow us on social media. We are Sip Sip Hooray Podcast.
And again, every time you interact with us, it helps us know that we're bringing you the kind of stories you want. And if you have questions, let us know. And we're happy to try to get the answer for you and even share them on our show.
Great. Well, Mary Babbitt, this is another great episode. We love doing in-person interviews when we can. So this is a treat. And sip, sip, hooray to that.
Yes, absolutely. Cheers, Mary Orland.